live on Insta for it to work on Insta. There we go. We are live, Brian. Now, I'm just going to click go live on Instagram. There we go. Yeah, so there it's going live. So now we're live. We are live on Facebook, my personal page, Facebook business page, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram.
So that's going to get us what, 10, 11 viewers?
No, it should be 1,000. Come on, we got to think big, Brian. Anyway, it's awesome to see. The first thing I haven't watched any of the hockey games. What was Joey's big? And Brian's obviously a former NHL goalie coach and scout, the owner of Stop It Goaltending. So many more things I could say. The goalie coach for in Boston.
Boston, be very careful. Boston University, not
Boston University,
College.
which is huge. The owner of Stop It Goaltending. He is a big part of the virtual reality.
Sense Arena, yeah.
The Sense Arena, the whole virtual reality for goaltenders, bringing that to life, which every one of my clients loves. And he's wrote a book. He's wrote a few books. One recently is How to Be a Goalie Parent. How to Be a Goalie Parent, which is a great read for goalie parents.
It's that book. I'm telling you, I don't think a day goes by where there isn't a sale on Amazon of that book. It's crazy, and I have so many parents, and thank you for reaching out. I've got so many parents that have read that book. This is where we are as goalie parents. I got so many parents that have read the book and said they started reading and they did not put it down until they were finished. Because it was years of questions and frustration that they had gone through, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, here's a perspective from someone that was a goalie scout, goalie director, goalie coach, kids had been lived through everything, and I was able to share that, and the goalie parents that were interviewed for the book were able to share their stories as well. So it was it's an awesome book.
Yeah, well, and you think about it, number one, we don't get a user's manual as a parent, and we definitely don't get a user's manual as a goalie parent. And they're all over the map with what to do, what to say, how to talk to kids after games. So yeah, awesome. That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
You love my latest one though.
No. Oh yeah, what's your latest one?
I wrote a book about a year ago called Rolly the Goalie, and basically it's about a young goalie. Played for Baconsville, home of the Bacon Burger, naturally. And Rolly the Goalie had trouble dealing with getting scored on. And what he did was he went and he asked his brother and sister and dad and grandfather that lived next door and grandma that lived next door. And they all gave him a story, an analogy, but he didn't really piece it all together until he sat down with mom. And mom, the school teacher, explained what everybody was trying to teach him. And then he goes into the championship game and he gets on the ice and he starts skating around the ice. And what do they have? They have the cup on a table sitting at center ice. And he has the worst warm-up of the year. Couldn't stop a thing. And then he remembered all the lessons that he was taught. And I'm not going to ruin the ending for the year, Pete. But then he's able to pull it together for that championship game.
That's huge. It sounds like a great read, especially because it's stories. It's a story, right? It's not like reading from a textbook. It's actually a story. So
absolutely. So like his sister's a figure skater, a big competition, so on and so forth. And she had him go in, and she had all her prizes, pennants, flags, everything she won from the tournaments, that she had skated in. And she had him take them all out for her. So he took them all out. And then when he was done, big job. When he was done, she said, I got a big skating competition next weekend. Put them back. He's like, well, don't you want them on your wall? No, they don't matter anymore. Just put them back.
Oh.
I got a skating competition that, next week. And he was so mad because she made him do all this work. So it's all stuff like that to help teach the importance of being able to, be in the present and
forget about it. And just move on.
Be able to have that resiliency and short memory and all that kind of stuff. So it's all different stories, and it's really cool. I'm really proud of it. Actually, it's
available on Amazon, obviously.
It's on Amazon. Yeah. I've got how to be a goalie parent, how to be a goalie, Rolly the goalie. It's all on Amazon. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, excited to have you on. Tell me about Joey.
Okay. Well, they just played.
Yeah.
They just played. So Team USA's first game, they played against Denmark, which was a lot of fun because it was in Denmark.
Yeah.
And they won 5-0.
Oh, great.
And I was thinking about you. I was thinking about you in the third period.
Oh, how come?
Well, because isn't a shutout just a great example of how you can start looking ahead when you go into that third period and you got the donut on the board? Like, isn't that really the time?
Yeah, I agree.
You can practice. You can practice during that time.
Yeah, and they say don't say the word shutout. To me, it's a big myth. Like, who cares? As long as the goaltender can get to the present, I'd rather hear the shutout than whatever you do. Don't let one in, right? Because the image is in the head.
Yeah. So it was his first game for USA, first official national tournament, and it was his first time, competing for Team USA. He played an exhibition game last week against Germany, and that went well as well. And so it was a big deal today, and it was the home crowd. So it was a convention center. It wasn't a rink. So it was a convention center. They just like a Winter Classic game, they converted into a rink. Okay. And it's really fun because it was a long road for him. It's been he wasn't on the national team or, his last year. So in the States, a little different than Hockey Canada. Yep. So we have 3 years where the whole country tries out. And all the best players end up in Buffalo for the national development camp. And then they pick the players to go to the Holinka. And that's where you get on the map, to try out for the national development program and so on and so forth. And, his last year, his 17U year, he didn't make it out of Massachusetts. Okay. Didn't make it out of Massachusetts. And it was a defining moment because we're in the parent thing right now, but you hit those times and you think that that's it. You think that this could be the end, right? Mm-hmm. So he's not going to national development camp. He's not going to get a scholarship. He's not going to get drafted. You just think the end is there because of one particular instance, as opposed to, hey, this is just one notch. Let's move. Like when Joey and I, we did it quite recently when he was home before leaving for Europe. We actually went through the most pivotal times in his career, and they were all negative. They were all, everything that we talked about, it was all times when he played a championship game in a tournament at prep school his junior year. He was 14th ranked in the NHL draft. He had a buzz going. I like to call it a wave. And they lost the championship game 5-2, and he did not play well. And the wave crashed. The phone stopped ringing. The NHL interviews stopped. Like everything came, like the place was loaded.
Isn't that crazy?
It was all the Division I, all the pro guys. Like it was packed, and he was the attraction. And he crashed and burned in front of everybody. And it seemed like, okay, that's over, right? Like when you're in the moment at those times, you think, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And then you come to realize that you were blessed to have those times, but it's so hard to see that in the moment. It's so easy to see this at the end of the road when they've made it, but while it's happening, it's so hard to see that those are the most important times in your career.
When people succeed, they tend to party. When they fail, they tend to ponder. And out of that pondering comes great things, right? And the whole fail forward fast analogy. And yeah, that's huge. Question. So when is it?
I'm going to stop you right there because we got to talk about this because I think.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. I finished off my steak as we're on this. So if anyone's like, what else are you doing? That's
you're going to get me hungry over here. So
if you were here at my house, I'd make you one.
I don't know if you happen to see maybe after a Seattle Kraken game or Joey's extremely excited, or if he gets named for a star, he comes out, he's all jacked, he hugs the mascot, he throws
nice.
Like, so, and it's so funny because I always talk about goalies being even keel.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Joey ever hears me talk about goalies even keel, don't get too high, don't get too low, he tells me to shut up.
That's because he's your kid.
He says to me, he goes, look, the lows stink. The lows stink. So when there's a high, I am going to party, celebrate, enjoy it, embrace it. I am not going to tone down when things are high. I am going to embrace and enjoy it because it's so hard when things are low.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting way to look at it.
He gives
me crap when I talk about.
Yeah. You know what, Brian? I agree. I agree just because it's after the game, right? If it's during the game, I don't think goalies should celebrate when their team scores and stuff because they're going to have someone come right back at them right away. But I think it's after a game. Maybe not if it's in the middle of a playoff series. Or maybe
all right, so how do you feel about Glove Love and the goalie joining the celebration line? Where'd you stand there?
About the what? I didn't hear you.
The goalie joining the celebration line down the boards.
I disagree. I disagree with it just because I think I tell the goalies to treat every whistle exactly the same. And just the reason for that is if we don't treat it exactly the same, it's like wearing a different piece of equipment, so to speak, as an analogy, right?
Yeah.
Every time the puck is dropped and just rest, relax. And the reason I say that is because I really believe we have a certain amount of concentration calories. I really believe that we need to conserve some.
Yeah.
Having said that, some of my clients still will do that. And I'm just like, okay, if that's you, do you.
Do you want to know why Joey does it?
No, tell me.
Because he's part of the team too.
Okay.
That's what he'll say. Hey, we scored. I'm part of the team. Every single player on that bench is given the glove, and the guys are going down. I'm getting my butt out there, and I'm going to go and be part of it. I'm part of the team. And I'm like, okay, I get that.
Yeah. Well, if that's him, if that's with him and he wants to do that, that's fine. And he's just got, after that, he's got to take a few moments and just rest, relax, revitalize. That's all.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about this shutout thing. This is what I was.
Let's do it, Brian. By the way, I'm so excited to have you on. It's so great to talk to you.
It's been a while.
I know. Yes. And we got to let people know before we talk about the shutout thing that I will be in Boston at your camp. And you have a full summer of camps too, don't you? I'm assuming.
Yeah, we do. I think 98.
We got to let people know about
98 different camps, and that's our big one. You know, we like to consider that the Woodstock for goalies.
Yeah.
So Pete, we're so excited to have you come and speak to the goalies, and you know, we also, which is, I don't know how unique this is, but I think it is because I haven't really heard about it too much with other camps, but we do presentations every morning for the parents.
Oh, that's yes.
We have people come from all over the world. You know,
that's spectacular.
Yeah. So we actually do, you come, kids get on the ice, the parents go to their workshop, and it's full too. And it's an hour presentation, and then it's questions and everything. Then we bring in our next speaker and another hour presentation. How does this work? How does that work? So naturally, there'll be a presentation on the CHL, Major Junior, the rule changes, NCAA. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate parents as much as possible. That's the GCG Prospects event, which is really exciting. It's really cool for the younger goalies because we start at the 2011s.
Okay, so 13.
Right? Yeah, and we go all the way. Like there's NHL guys walking around.
Like Joey will be there.
And we tell all the kids, like, they get it right there as part of their handbook. The college guys, the pro guys, they're there just like you.
Yeah.
They're there to get better. They're in the presentations. They're on the ice. Like, it's not get photos and autographs and
No.
like it's not about that. So it's a really interesting. You'll see the culture. You got the big guys walking around, and they're just like part of the camp. So it goes, from the youngest, and there'll be 150 goalies there, Pete. Like,
Really?
and the quality, the quality is exceptional because the coaching. We've got coaches from the NHL and then college and then junior. Like, we got all these guys there. It's awesome for us because at night, you're gonna love this. At night, we have a coaches symposium. So we sit there, we watch video, we talk about things.
Yep.
And it's a tremendous growth experience as well for the coaches. But anyways, let's get back. Let's get back to the shutout. And
let's do it. Yeah, let's talk to the shutout. My daughter's texting me right now. She's saying, "Don't eat." But I got a workout in a couple hours. I just have to get this in me. And she's the only one that can get through my do not disturb. So Ash, can you stop texting, please? Because it dings.
It's so funny. I don't know if you heard my phone ring, but that was my wife, guys. I'm sure she wanted to call and celebrate Joey's shutout.
Oh, she did. I'm sure you should have answered it.
No
call
chance.
her back. If you want to call her back, call her back.
Nope. We understand. Okay. We're a hockey family. We understand this.
It'd be exciting for people to hear your call. It'd be exciting for them to hear you call your wife.
Too funny. So the reason why I was thinking about the shutout, and then the fact of when Joey was younger, I always thought that he began thinking about the end result before the game was over.
Yep.
And there was a span where he would give up some late goals in games that were already done. Like, it didn't matter for the game. But we talked quite a bit about this. About, it doesn't matter if it's the first goal, the fifth goal. A shot's a shot. That's it. Every shot's, that's the shot. There's nothing before the shot. There's nothing after. There's just a shot, right? So, but anyways, I did a podcast the other day, and it was really interesting to me. We were talking about grounding and using grounding as a way to stay in the present. I know I've listened. I forget who it was that would do the hiking in his bare feet that you had on one of your podcasts.
That's me. I do it. My son does.
No, but you had it was a goalie talking about it. It was one of your clients.
Paris O'Brien probably. Paris played in the Olympics for China, played in the KHL. I had Dylan Ferguson do it. Said Josh Ravensbergen over. He's number one ranked in the draft, but he didn't go barefoot. But
so I think in this podcast we kind of came up with this cool idea that I wanted to bounce off you.
Mm-hmm.
So what our guest was talking about was after a goal or getting ready, it was tapping the post.
Okay.
Feeling the post as a way of grounding and, hey, you know what? Let's be in the moment. Here's the post. Here's our net. Yeah. And I said, I said, if that is grounding and going to help you stay in the present, I have no touch or feel for that other than through my equipment. What if I took my glove off and I grabbed the cold crossbar that had a little moisture to it? Would that help? And she was like, yeah, it's great. And then I said, well, let's take it one step further. What if whistle time, whatever it is, and you want to bring yourself back to the present, forget about the Jedi mind thing, right? What about taking a knee, taking your glove off and putting your hand on the cold ice to bring you back to the present?
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody do that. And it just came up organically in the conversation. And I thought I would bounce that off of you and see what you thought about that.
Yeah. I would say I would say try out different things and find out what works best for you. Some of my clients they'll take a sip of water. They'll feel the temperature change in their mouth.
Interesting.
Because you have to really be in the moment to feel that temperature change. I know Josh will squirt his face with water, and it's his signal that everything in the past is gone, whether he was good or bad in the past.
Yeah.
Right. So a couple different things. Yeah. I would say it's good to have a few different options to use.
A few different anchors. Anchors.
Yeah.
Like Fleury, I believe it's Fleury that you hit the stick in the corner. He's actually sending the goal into the boards, out of the play, and then he's going back to his net. That goal is as far as he can get it away from the net.
Yes. Yeah. And some guys will imagine that they're flushing it down the toilet. It's just boom, like it's gone.
So very similar to putting a thought on a cloud and letting it drift away.
Yeah, let it drift away. Yeah.
So you visually watch it go down the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it's funny because what I teach my clients for negative thoughts, instead I teach them that if they have a negative thought, imagine their hand going forward, grabbing it, crushing it, throwing it to the side, and seeing it crumble in a million pieces. Or better yet, like I imagine a big Hulk arm, or just throwing it away. It just gives it a little bit more oomph, so to speak.
So I don't know if you've heard me talk about this one yet, which is interesting because this hand kind of got me. So the hardest part of being a goaltender for me.
Yeah.
So I never made it to the NHL. Joey will remind me a lot.
He'll remind you all the time.
Yeah. That he's got more NHL games than I got pro games. Like he'll remind me of that. So I played in Switzerland. I was in Switzerland for 7 years in the National League. And so it was good level, and it was a good career type of thing. And so pregame anxiety was really, really hard for me. I was very agitated all day long. God forbid someone take my parking spot, that kind of stuff. Like I would get rattled easy, and I really struggled with it. And I played with a guy. He was a player, and his name was Bobby Logan, really good player. Played in the NHL. And he ended up, when he came to Europe, we ended up picking him up during the season. He ended up living with me.
Okay.
And he told me, he goes, I couldn't even tell you who we're playing until the national anthem. So the national anthem was
forward. Is he a forward?
Yeah, forward.
You go forward.
Okay. Now, but that got me thinking, right? And that got me experimenting. Trying to say, well, what's my trigger? Like, I'd never thought about a trigger before. And what's my trigger as a goalie? Okay, it's walking through the rink. Let's try walking through the doors of the rink. Let's do that. It's walking onto the ice, a la Carter Hart. You know what I mean? Like, all right, so what is it for me? And then I found that I needed to have the switch turned on before I got to the ice. That's what I figured out. But I spent way too much time in the locker room stressing, way too much time at home stressing.
Yep.
And I finally found, I don't even remember how it first happened, but I finally found grabbing the mask from the top of my stall and putting the mask on my face. I was like superhero mode.
Yeah, it's like your Superman cape. You're changing. You're in the phone booth.
100%. And it was the mask is sitting there. Now, the other part of that was the mask sits there while I'm in the locker room in between periods before the game. I don't have to be Superman. As Joey reminds me all the time, Dad, no one's shooting at me while I'm in my apartment. No one's shooting at me while I'm driving my car. I cannot make a save while I'm driving to the rink.
So you might as well relax.
Yeah. Like you can't make a save.
Yeah.
So you can't make a save while your mask is in your stall. Right? But when you put your mask on, for me, now it was go time.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. Bring my inner savage out there. Like it's my other personality.
Yeah.
Let's bring that and go. And then when I get off the ice, when I put that thing back on, I can't make a save. I can't change the pucks that went in. I can't do anything. So put it up. So that was just something that I found as a player that I love sharing because I think it's a really good one.
Oh yeah, I've had goalies call me, say, we're on the road, I'm fine. We're at home, I'm just a jumble of nerves all day because I'm thinking too much about the game and things like that, right? So I've had to do like special relaxation visualizations for them that they could listen to, right? Like a meditation the day of the game, just to clear their mind.
Yeah. So you walk them right through it, right?
Yeah, I got a special recording I did. So a game day relaxation meditation, which allows them just to relax and forget about it, right? Forget about it. Exactly.
And you got to like, how to be a goalie parent. You got to get these visualizations done for parents, not just the goalies.
I know. Well, you know what? I am. And in it, when I say what else you need to do, I say you got to get your book, Stop It Goaltending. I've just about completed a course on mindset for goalie parents. So just specifically on mindset.
I did not know this.
Yeah, it's almost done and it'll be released soon. But in it though, when I say what else can you do, I go you got to get Brian's book, How to Be a Goalie Parent too. Like, yeah.
That's awesome.
I give you a plug.
As soon as you release that thing, I am getting it. Guaranteed.
As a Joey, I forgot.
Hey, we're all goalie parents, but we go through the same thing, and so obviously, my goalies are older, and I've been through a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm still a goalie parent. It's your kid, funny, eh? And all you want is success for your kid. You want your kid to be happy.
Yeah, that's all you want. You do. That's why I look at you as a legendary Brian Daccord. I don't think of you as a goalie parent, right? So when you said that, I was
yeah, just like every other goalie parent, same thing. And it's been a heck of a journey. I've done, and
you must be proud. You must be so proud.
Yeah, you know what? Well, you know what's really I'm proud of is that Joey wasn't the golden child. Like, it wasn't like he was the best kid and he was the most recruited kid, and he had one scholarship offer from a new Division I program of Arizona State University. Like, that's all he had. So the thing I'm most proud of is he had to work.
Yes.
To get everything, yes. Right? So, as a dad, you talk to your kids about paying the price and they look at you like you got three heads. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many paying the price speeches I've had with my kids over the years. And at some point, he figured out he's got to pay the price. And if you look at, I have a program called Be a Pro, and it's a 4-week program. Mm-hmm. It's in the summertime. It's 5 days a week.
Okay.
Like, you're going all day. So, and I actually took that from watching what Joey's summer looks like. Like Joey's working 9 to 5 in the summertime.
I would get him ready for NHL training camp big time, because that's what they do at training camp. They go all day.
You know what I mean? Like, it is, the on ice. It's the off ice.
Yeah.
It's going to the hyperbaric chamber. It's going to the PRI coach. PRI, in the goalie community. Hips. Yeah. Before you get anything done to your hips, go work with a Postural Restorative Institute. Go work with a PRI. It's done magic for a number of my goalies. That they remember, like, they tell you.
How do people find that if they're listening?
Just look it up online.
Just go PRI. Just PRI.
Postural Restorative Institute. Yeah.
Okay.
And basically,
are they all over? Or
yeah, they are. And so, okay, the layman way to explain this to you is that you're doing exercise and movement while you're breathing. And you're moving oxygen to different areas of your body. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the goalies that I've sent there, I'll put it this way. Joey does PRI all summer, his first summer of PRI. And he goes to training camp and he's like, I'm having a heck of a time. And I go, why? He goes, because I don't know where the bottom of my butterfly is. I used to know where the bottom was because that's all I had. I was stopping. Now my butt can go down to the ice.
Really?
My hips are that much more open than it was. he had to retrain where he sat in his butterfly, because before it was just that's just what it was.
Yeah.
Right. And then PRI was able to just open up his hips and allow him to be able to move. And in my thought, it just stopped the grinding.
Yes.
Of the femur and the socket.
I've had clients have to retire at 20 years old because of their hips.
So it's the PRI coach, it's the massage therapist, right? It's the body, like every day it's different things that he would do. And what I try to do in the Be a Pro program is bring kids from out of town that aren't part of our summer long program. They don't live there. They come in and it's a full day. It's neuro training. It's training your focus. It's like it's start to finish. And like, guys, my experience, my son wasn't the guy that people said, oh, that guy's going to be an NHL player and all that stuff. Like, he wasn't that guy, but he found ways to make himself better. And, you know, it's really interesting because some kids feel like, oh, if they're not stars or the best player at a younger age, 15, 16, then they're done, right? And in my experience, adaptability is the biggest thing. And when I was with Arizona, Shane Doan was involved with us. And Shane Doan would come into the scouting meetings, and I was the director of goaltending development.
For the Coyotes, the Arizona Coyotes?
The Arizona Coyotes.
Which is now Utah.
Which is, I love the mammoth logo. I love it. Anyways, so Shane would be in the meetings, and he'd say the same thing over and over again. So the scouts would talk about the player and everything, and Shane would go, what was he at the beginning of the season, and what is he now? Okay? If he was a second-line center at the beginning of the season, is he still a second-line center? If he had 40 goals last year, does he have 40 goals this year? Like, so what he focused on was progression.
Yeah.
Start to finish. And we always think when you look at someone, oh, they have these physical skills, they got those skills, he's highly talented, all that stuff. But what Joey was able to do was he was able to get better, keep getting better every year. And it wasn't easy. Like, he didn't walk in. When he went to prep school, I was the goalie coach at Cushing Academy. He goes to Cushing Academy prep school. He's living in school. I drive home after the first practice. I look at Daniela straight in the eyes, go, I made a mistake.
No.
I said, it's too fast for him.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How old was he at that time?
16.
Really?
I said it was too fast for him. Yeah. And I thought I made a mistake. But guess what happened?
He adjusted.
And then each level, it never came fast. Like, he wasn't 1 year in the American Hockey League and then in the NHL. Like, every level, 3 years of college, 3-4 years in the American Hockey League. Like it took time. But it's that figure out ability that we talk about all the time. Like, figure it out, guys.
Yeah.
Like, ask yourself why. Ask yourself questions.
What would you say is the absolute biggest adversity that Joey faced during his goalie career? If you could just name one thing that tops everything else, what would it be?
Yeah, I would tell you, but I can't.
Okay.
And I can't tell you because it'd be evident, you know, what the situation was. But I would say that probably the second best was not making national development camp.
That's 17, the 17-year-old.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because there was a lot of family pressure involved as well. Who do you think was in charge of sending the goalie from Massachusetts to the national development program?
You.
Me. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I was the head of the evaluation process for goalies. So what I would do is I would assign the coaches that evaluate the goalies. And then I would work with the coaches through the process those coaches would then say, yes, here's the goalie we want to send to national camp, so on and so forth. So what happened was we ranked the goalie. In Massachusetts, you get graded every single event that you do. So there's about 5 different events. Joey graded first in every event. All-star game. Gave up 5 goals in half the game. Okay, so they got down to the last 4 goalies, the last group of players gave up 5 goals. A really interesting part of the story is two of those goals, the net came off. Okay. High school pegs, you know what it's like. You know when the nets are always coming off. So he's an RVH guy going his post, all this. So the net comes off. And after the second goal that went in, he goes to the ref. He's like, ref, the net came off again. He goes, yeah, if this was a real game, it wouldn't count. It wouldn't have counted.
But it is a real game.
You know what I mean? Like if this was a real game, okay. So anyway, but in retrospect, when you looked at the game, one team had 11 players that ended up going to the national development. Sorry, there were 11 players in that game that went to the national development camp, players.
Yeah. 9
played on the other team, 2 played on Joey's team for that game. Yeah. So there's some environmental situational factors that went along with that.
There always is. Yeah, there always is. Yeah. Yeah.
So he doesn't get selected. It looks like it could be the end of the road, right? And it was, okay, what are you going to do with this? Right? What are you going to do with this? And then another parent going off of this. So then he stays at Cushing, which is another story. He stayed at Cushing because he was captain of the tennis team, captain of the soccer team.
Nice. So he played multiple sports.
Yeah. So he was captain of hockey, captain of tennis, captain of soccer. Sorry. So
he's captain of the hockey team?
Yeah, he's captain of the hockey.
Wow. Yeah.
So he's 3-sport captain, going into senior year, had all this pressure to go junior and not go back for his senior year. He wanted to go back. He loved soccer. He loved being a captain. There's a funny story that goes along with it, but he stays. And he has a good first couple months of the season. Then we go into the Christmas tournament circuit. Okay.
Yep. We
play the Lawrence Academy tournament, and they lose in Ryan Donato's team in the final, 3-2, something like that. He played good. He played well. It's a good tournament. He's off to a good start. So we're driving home from the game, and then I dope slap him. I'm like, hey, I just want to know I want you to know I'm really proud of you. Like, you're really off to a good start, but I just need you to know that it's not good enough. And he's like, whoa. I'm like, you say you want to play in the NHL. You say you want to get drafted. You want to say you want a Division I scholarship. You want to play Division I college hockey. I said, you have to be better. Simple as that. Good is not going to get you there. You have to find another level of your game. Ironically, Christmas happens. Right after Christmas is the tournament. Remember the tournament that he fell apart in the championship game?
Yep.
They win the championship game. He's MVP of the tournament. Greg Powers calls up from Arizona State, has him in for a visit. Boom, full scholarship to Arizona State.
Nice.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes. Yes.
And I don't know about you, and there's so much about how to talk to goalies. Like, I don't see any reason why you can't be real with the goalies.
No, you need to be real.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody tries to you got to be careful around the goalies. No, here, spell it out. Here's the deal. This is what the deal is. You think you're playing well? You are playing well. It's good. It's just not going to be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I had a call this season from a parent, and he was disappointed that his son wasn't getting the interest from the junior teams that he expected, from the leagues that he expected.
Yep.
And I'm going, come on. Like, I'm in my head. I'm just going. So I hang up the phone. I'm in the BU locker room. I grab my phone and I look at my phone. I say, stop calling me. Stop calling me to tell me your coach sucks, your team sucks, your stats suck, your league sucks. You need to be somewhere else. I said, play better.
Yeah, don't be a victim, be a victor.
Yeah, here's what my message: make your team better. Are you making your team better? If you're making your team better, talk to me. But if you're not making your team better, then what are we doing here? There's 1,000 guys just like
you. We're focused on all the wrong things.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I went off. I got a gazillion views.
Good for you. Put him in his place.
It wasn't. No, it didn't mention that goalie or anything like that. I said to everybody, stop calling me to tell me you need help. Yeah. If you make your team better, there's going to be opportunities and interest, but you just don't get given it. It's just not given to you.
No. It's like a player thinking that the agent is going to get him the job.
Yeah.
His performance is going to get him the job.
100%. I had this conversation last night with a goalie going into junior hockey.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm going to tender with this team in the null because I'm not sure that I'm going to make a USHL team. Unpack that one for me.
Yeah. So basically I think they need to burn the ships. You know what I mean by burn the ships? Yeah.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats, burn the ships. It was the great explorer Cortez, right? When he was bringing his soldiers to fight on an island, and he noticed they were nervous. And so he set the ships on fire when they were at the dock and goes, men, look at our ships. We win or we perish, right? And they won. They had no other option except die.
So it was fascinating to me because I was like, hey, I go, here's the deal. Coaches want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches at the junior level, they get paid. It's their jobs.
Yeah.
You go to training camp and you're the best goalie, they'll cut the guy they drafted, the guy they signed from Europe. They want to win.
100%.
So show up at camp.
Yep.
You can go win a job, dude.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, we'll worry about it then. Not now. Don't build a safety net. Worry about it then. And and it led to a discussion with one of my coaches about Massachusetts players and goaltenders. There were 5 Massachusetts players drafted in the USHL draft. Only 5 in the entire draft. And our system, and I don't know what the system is in Canada or if it's in different provinces or whatever, but our system in New England, Johnny tries out in March, makes his team in March. All summer long, knows where they're playing. They show up September 1st and they start playing.
There's no going to make the team in August.
No, I don't know where I'm playing. I'm going to go to tryouts at the AAA program. I get caught. I'm moving to the AA program. I get caught. I'm moving to the single A program. No way. You find out in March where you're going to play next year. That's
set in advance. Yeah.
That's our system here.
I like that. I mean, you can prep to play for that team.
Yeah, but is that the best thing for the kids? No. There's no way, because now you take a goalie from New England, which is the story I just told you, and they're like, well, I got to go to a tryout in August, and I don't know I don't know where I'm playing. No. Yeah. Go like that kid from Michigan grew up his whole life not knowing if he was making honey baked or Little Caesars or whatever. He didn't know until August. So he worked his ass off all summer and then had to go prove it at camp.
So that's the Massachusetts system. That's it's different in Michigan.
Yeah. That's our Massachusetts.
Okay, I was assuming you were saying it was the same.
No, that's our Mass. And so that led to a discussion with one of my coaches about the way we do things.
Yeah.
Where you find out at the end of the season where you're playing next year.
Develop a lot over the summer now that I think
you can develop a lot. You can change a lot in the summertime. And guess what? Am I going to change more knowing that, hey, I've got a spot on the South Shore Kings EHF team? Or am I going to improve more? Wow, I'm trying out for the South Shore Kings elite team, EHF team. I'm trying out for that team. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm going to freaking work harder at skills. I'm going to work harder off the ice. I'm going to work harder in the weight room because I have to go prove it. And now you have to go prove it right before the season, not knowing that you're going to make the team. And that creates that adversity.
Yeah, it does. That work.
Okay, and I think so for our kids, our goalies will go out to the USHL, North American League or whatever, and then they end up on the bench for a few weeks. The NCDC teams back home are calling them, hey, come here. You're going to play every game. Okay, fine. I'm not going to stay here and fight. Joey Daccord, ASU, the only NHL drafted player on the team, sat on the bench. Sat in the stands for a month and a half his freshman year.
Didn't even really.
Didn't dress, dude. Didn't dress. Okay.
How did he handle that?
I'll tell you exactly.
That might go through the same thing.
I'll tell you exactly how he handled it. All right. St. John's had an unbelievable team, great team.
Yep.
In the queue, they drafted Joey. Who do you think was in my year? They wanted him to leave ASU.
Yeah.
They had a chance to go to the Mem Cup. And they were like, hey, Joey had gone to the tryouts and the whole thing. Just did just for the experience, whatever. He wasn't going to go, but he went for the experience.
Yep.
Then he goes and he's at the ASU. And so I had to have the talk with him. So I said to him, this is one of the proudest dad moments I've ever had. I said, here's the deal. They've got a heck of a team. You're sitting in the stands. You're the third goalie right now at ASU. I go, you go join this team. You go to a Mem Cup. Guess what? You got a chance, dude. You got a chance. This could be your golden egg. And he said to me, Dad, no effing way I'm leaving. If I can't make it here, I'm not going to play in the NHL.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. But what's Papa Bear thinking?
Oh, you must have been proud. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. He's thinking clear as could be.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was like, what do I do? Should he leave? Should he stay? And he didn't even entertain it for a fraction of a second. He's telling no freaking way I'm leaving. He used a different word, but
that's phenomenal. Because just like you were saying, yeah, I know. He used a different word. Because just like you were saying about that one goaltender who would call you and just say, the team this, the coach that, and stuff like that. He could have fell into that and said, yeah, let's go to this new team. Right?
Pete, when you live in my world, you get one of those calls every week.
Yeah.
Every week. Like, they want the environment to make their kid better.
You got to use the environment to get better.
And everybody misses that, though.
Yeah.
Everybody misses that.
And then use
the environment to get better, and everybody's in a rush. If I don't make this team, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, I've got to get to this spot. No, you don't. You got to get better.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing you talk, Brian, because the stories about Joey and the adversity that he faced. When I think about it and I piece it together, that's why he's having the success he's having now. Because he faced adversity in the National Hockey League too, but he gone through it. He went through it with ASU, right? He went through it with that development camp, and he persisted. He just kept going and adjusted.
Think about this, Pete. his third year, so he did a year in Belleville. He was the taxi squad goalie there, during the COVID year, got about 9 games with Ottawa, got picked up with Seattle in the expansion draft, went to Charlotte because they shared the affiliation. Okay. He put up a 925 in Charlotte. 925 in Charlotte. They lost in the second round of the playoffs. Okay. Chris Drieger goes to the World Championships, blows out his knee. ACL, he's going to miss most of the season. Anybody in their right mind goes, here's your young goalie you drafted in the expansion draft. He puts up a 925. He put up a 916 in Belleville. He graduates to the NHL.
Yeah. No brainer.
Nope. They signed Martin Jones. They signed Martin Jones and go, you're going back to the minors. We got a team in Coachella Valley next year. That's where you're going to play. Okay. Hey, that's almost the end of the road in development for, if you don't get out of the NHL, if you don't get out of the AHL in 3 years if you're a college guy and 4 years if you're a major junior guy, if you're not out, chances are you're never getting out. Chances are you're not going to make it. So he got to that point. He had the year to put himself in that spot, because Chris was supposed to be back. Like, there wasn't going to be a spot. But then Chris gets hurt, opens up the spot. They sign the veteran to come in and take that spot and say, no, you're going back to the minors. Okay.
How did you take that?
That was hard. But remember when we started this, I started telling you that when we talked about what were the most pivotal moments in his career, we weren't talking about any of the big wins or champions. Like, all we talked about was times like that. When they signed Martin Jones, when you go, oh my God, I just put up a 925. So he goes to Coachella Valley. Okay. Starting going Coachella Valley. Plays 26 straight playoff games. AHL's 5 rounds. Plays 26 games. And he wasn't healthy, 100% healthy for 26 games. He played 26 games. They lost in overtime of Game 7 to Hershey. Okay?
Whoa.
Of that game. And you know what? If you ask Joey what was the most important thing to allow him to be able to figure out how to play in the NHL, it was those 26 games. That he would not have gotten if he had gotten his wish of getting the call when Dries went down.
It's like the Rolling Stones song. You don't only get what you want, you get what you need.
Yeah. So what he needed to get to the point where he's at now was the experience he had in Coachella Valley. But it doesn't feel like it at the time, Pete, as a parent, as a kid. Like, it doesn't feel like it at the time. Okay. But he got that time. And he once again, like, he took advantage of it. Right.
And that's a perfect example of, when we have a goal, a target and stuff like that, it's really not about reaching the targets, but who do we become along the way? Right. So when he had those adversities, he just kept getting stronger. It's like putting more weight on the bar, but not quite being able to curl it. But eventually that weight's going to come off of it and you're going to be able to freaking kill it.
All right. So it's so funny you say that. So when we talk through these events and these tough times, we always ended the same way. He would do this. He would go, Dad, more calluses. Dad, more calluses. I need more calluses. Bring them on.
Oh, I love it.
More calluses, the stronger his hand's going to be. And that was always our thing, more calluses. All right. That's just another callus. Just more.
You got to bring him here. We'll take him on a barefoot hike. You
Are you kidding me? He's a cushy NHLer now. You're gonna drive him in a Range Rover on that hike? I'm just joking.
I love it. That's outstanding. Wow. Yeah, like I said before, you must be super proud, like super proud.
Yeah. And it's so funny because you talk about pride. I've got a younger son, you know.
Okay.
And
How many children do you have, Brian?
yes, I got 2 kids.
You have 2, both boys?
Yeah. And I'm tremendously proud. And here's, going back to the goalie parent thing again. My younger son had basically the opposite experience of Joey in the sense that he was on the smaller side.
Yep.
He started later and things didn't go well for him. Okay. It was really, really hard. He was recruited to go to a prep school, goes to the prep school. They say, here's the deal. You come as a freshman, you're going to be on the varsity team. Sophomore, you're going to get some games, but we're looking for you to play your junior, senior year. Okay, fantastic. Goes to the prep school, plays 1 game, gets a 3-1 win, 30 saves. Good start to prep school, freshman, Coach resigns at the end of the year. Bring in a new coach, and that new coach had the opportunity to bring in PGs, post-grads. So now he took a bunch of 18-year-olds from different areas and brought them in and built his team. I don't blame the coach at all. If my school would have said, you can get PGs, you can get 18, 19-year-olds come in, I would have done the same thing. So there's no, animosity there. He didn't play a game his sophomore year. Same thing happened his junior year. Brought in another PG.
No.
He got 1 game in 3 years. Yeah.
What, did you go back to 4th?
So that's the opposite. Okay. So now that's the opposite. So now he ends up going to St. Anselm's College and he's done with hockey. Okay. Done with hockey. St. Anselm, great school.
Where is that? Where is that school?
It's right near Manchester.
Okay.
New Hampshire. And so he goes, they got a tremendous facility, excellent Division III program. And he goes there and I'm talking to the coach and he says, you know what? We had a kid coming back. He's not coming back. We need a 3rd goalie.
No.
Alex, go meet with the coach. He goes to meet with the coach. He got 1 start in 4 years. Okay.
At the college.
At the college. Got 1 start. And you know what? You know what he won his senior year? 7th player award.
What is that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
So in Boston, I thought all NHL teams did this. There's a 7th player award, right? Which is someone that isn't in the limelight.
Oh, got it.
A great teammate, that community that does all the things, but doesn't get a chance to shine. He's not the star of the team. He could be that, left winger that ends up a +20 for the season and gets a goal and 2 assists after 50 games. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't be more proud of that. Like I am such a proud dad that he was such a good teammate. Never played his senior year, not 1 minute. They didn't give him a minute his senior year. Like not even mop up duty, nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Came out to work his butt off every day. And he said, my job is to challenge the guys, push the goalies, and make my team better. That's what I do. And that's what he did. And he got a beautiful plaque and award. Like it was great. And I'm so proud. He's got such good character. I'm just really proud of him.
That's awesome. So what did he take in college?
Business. He was a business major.
Yeah. So is he going to come back and run your company now?
No, not at all. He's much smarter than that.
Okay.
He works for Fidelity.
Okay.
And so he's climbing up the ranks in Fidelity right now. And I'm proud of him for that too. He's doing a great job and he keeps on getting these promotions and these opportunities. And I think, the whole thing, don't let your kids be goalies.
It's crazy. I think it's crazy.
I look at my kid, Alex, going, you know what? He's not in the NHL. He's not like Joey. He didn't sign the $25 million contract. But you know what? He got so much out of being a goalie. then he's crushing it right now at work.
Yes.
Crushing it. And I maybe it's me and I'm biased and all this kind of stuff. I'm back home in Montreal right now, by the way.
Oh, nice. Where in Montreal are you?
Yeah, I'm in Beaconsfield.
Where's that? I get
West Island.
So you can speak French.
A little bit, not too bad. But I went to an English school and everything. But anyways, the funny thing is, you know what, you hear all the time about, oh, don't let your kids be goalies because it's so hard.
Yeah.
That's the whole freaking point, guys. That's the
whole point. Yes.
That's the whole point. As a parent, we want our kids to be happy and all that kind of stuff. And we want to protect them from hardship, protect them from adversity. That's what we want to do. Where it's the worst thing for the kids. Like I coached at Brooks School, which was a prep school. I did 3 years there. And the kids would come in and we had, you know, part of the kids would live there. Part of the kids were boarders. Part of the kids were commuters. All the kids wanted to be commuters. All the parents wanted to have their kids being commuters, right? And 2 weeks after they get there, they're like, can I board? Right? Because they're like, okay, now they have friends. Now they want to board. But the difference between a boarder and a commuter is when you're a commuter, mom wakes you up, makes you breakfast, tells you to wear a jacket because it's raining outside. When you're a boarder at prep school, you set your alarm. You decide what time you're going to get up. You decide what you're eating for breakfast. You decide whether you should bring a jacket or not. And you do that over and over again, compounding times. The maturation rate of a prep school boarder versus a day student is apples and oranges.
Huge.
I'm speaking generically now, and I'm sure there's aberrations. Don't call me. I'm sure there's aberrations.
You're in trouble.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's clear. It was so clear to me. And so when I'm advising goalies, oh, geez, I don't think he should move away to do this and do that. And I said, they're going, no, that's right. Get him out. Let's go. Get him out. They're going to mature. You're going to be shocked when they come back in a year.
Yeah. Big time. And the whole thing, I was talking to NHL scout, and he was saying that one of the big problems with hockey in North America is that a lot of goaltenders, when they have kids, guess what they tell their kids? Don't play goal, right? And he actually talked about you, and he talked about Joey, right? How he thought that was so awesome, right? And I know I work with Jacob Dobes. His dad was a goaltender, right? And so if any goalie dads, if any goalies are listening that don't have kids or have young kids, make them be a goaltender. Make them be a goaltender.
Hey, Pete, let me ask you a question about development, because this has been a big. There's, you're a social media guy and you do a great job with it. And there's so much. I follow social media, and Stop It Goaltending's done a lot. And there's so much talk right now about block training versus variability training or random training and that kind of thing. And I don't know if this is down your lane, but is that something that you think about or talk about or address when it comes, there's so much talk about Hockey Canada and how they develop goalies and so on and so forth. And, do you have any views on block training, teaching systems and mechanics?
I do.
Variability or random training?
Yeah, and I compare it to when Canada lost to Czech Republic in the Olympics. Remember Dominik Hasek?
Yep.
Chuck Gretzky out and everyone else out on the shootout there. And of course, Canada panics. And they have this big, I think it was called the Molson. Of course, it was sponsored by a beer company. But,
it's Canadian. Why wouldn't it be?
The Open Ice Summit. And so I was there, and I was sitting at a table with Ken Hitchcock. Ken coached in the National Hockey League for years.
Hitch, yeah.
And he was saying that the problem with a lot of systems, with a lot of coaches and a lot of teams, and what they're doing is they'll take someone at a young age, like 8, 9, 10 years old, and they'll call them a winger. They'll have them. I'm talking players. Same thing for goalies. They'll have them skate up and down the boards. Whereas I think if I get right what you're saying, a lot of times goalies will be taught you have to do it this way and this way.
Play a certain way. play a system structure.
Yeah, and then they almost get beat out of them. Hey, I just gotta. At the end of the day, I gotta stop the puck.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I'm gonna do it this way, but if I have to go like this to stop the puck or whatever, I'm gonna do it. Right? And I think that's kind of beat out of them sometimes. Does that make sense?
No, that's the argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
The argument is, do they become in a box, right? And then understanding the progression. So, we train a lot of goalies, and we've obviously had some success. And
Huge success, Brian. Don't be modest. That's huge success. Come on.
We talk about this quite a bit, and so we look at it this way. So we use acquisition,
Yep,
application, and aptitude. So acquiring the skill.
I didn't go to university, so you have to explain those 3 words to me, please.
Acquire the skill, apply the skill, and then aptitude is problem solving.
Got it.
It's your figure out ability. So those are the 3 things that we look at when we look at training plans, when we look at systems and structures and so on and so forth. And then in our developmental model, internally, not externally, but we're pulling back the curtain on this one. So we're basic, intermediate, and advanced. Okay. And we've done a lot of work in this, in formalizing this lately. And when we look at basic, we try to stick to single component drills. Young goalies, here, steer up. Here's how we're going to take a shot. You're going to steer it to the corner.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And then, take that same steer shot. We're then got an intermediate goalie. We're still going to take that shot for a steer. We'll probably add some movement to it, but then we're going to add a second shot. And that shot could come early, middle, late. Sometimes the goalie gets set. Sometimes they're halfway getting there and get the shot. Sometimes they're on their knees. They look and that shot's coming. Okay. So it's part structure, it's part block, and part variable. Okay.
I like that.
Then, if you think that this is just generically explaining things, now you take that same steering drill or whatever. Now you have the shot, this, they can shoot either side, whatever. So there's variability, what side it's going to come. There's going to be a second shot, but now we add either another player or that other goalie that's not in the net, and that goalie's going to screen short side tip, backdoor pass. So now the goalie has to go, okay, the goalie's got the steering technique.
Yep.
The goalie can understand, hey, there may be a shot coming right away, whatever. But then they have to process the threats.
I love it. I love it. You know why I like that, Brian? Because, as a goalie is a position that has more controllables than any position on the planet, right? So the first stage is pretty much a controllable, right? You can control steering that puck to the corner.
Right? A straight shot along the ice, it's going to your glove side, steered to the corner.
Yeah. But then by the time you get to the third stage, there's a whole bunch of uncontrollables in there, in which we have to learn to deal with those as a goaltender. So I love it. I think that.
So think about it this way. So I make a save on getting my second shot. If that goalie, the extra goalie, is beside me for a tip to the short side, I'm like, okay, I now have to base my depth on that threat.
Yeah.
But I still get the shot. I got to stop the shot. I can't give that shot up. But I got a threat here. And then it's like, if that shot gets taken there, I'm probably going to shift, drop, probably not going to slide, because then I'm going to get pulled out of the net because it's my short side. I'm going to end up. So like, I got to process this.
Yeah.
If he screens me, now I got to think, okay, do I look short side? Okay, easy. Short side. Yeah, you want, what if he's a right shot? Okay. Is he moving? Is he stationary? I got to process all this up. Okay. Now the goalie moves to the middle. He's going to tip one in right directly at the peak of the. Okay. Hey, now I can take a little bit of gap. But if the shot comes for the tip, I'm still fine. I got good gap. Now the shot comes from the tip. Now, how do I play that? Under square? Do I square? Do I glove block or extension? Do I attack it? Do I go like, do I try to intercept it right when it's getting to, like, now you get all that processing. Now the goalie slides back door for the 1T. Okay. Now I go, all right, I need some drift and flow in my game, because if he makes that pass instead of shooting and I'm set, I'm dead. So now you got all this stuff you're processing. And so our thought is, instead of like this kind of came up, instead of thinking about it as block training,
Yep,
we're kind of thinking about it, and one of our coaches brought this up. It's foundation training. Is it wrong to build a foundation? Does a foundation put you in a box, or does a foundation give you tools in your toolbox?
it makes you stronger, like a foundation for a house, right? You're not going to build a house if there's no foundation.
Like if you got your tool belt, right, and you bring me your car and I got a tool belt on and all I got in a screwdriver, you're probably not going to be happy with me fixing your car.
Yeah.
But if I've got a belt full of tools, now the aptitude is understanding what tool do I need to pull out to fix Pete Fry's car.
Well, and you could also compare that, and that's an analogy, as like driving when you first learn to drive.
Yeah.
What's the foundation when you're first driving, and all these other things are added on. And at first you're like, oh my God, it's challenging. You start off where you are unconsciously incompetent, so to speak. Like you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that you're not at that level. And then you become consciously incompetent. You recognize that, okay, yeah, I know what we're doing here, but I still can't quite do it yet with all those variables. This is after the foundation. And then eventually you get to the point where you are you're consciously competent, right? Which is still challenging, but then you get to the point where you're unconsciously competent. And that's where that's the magic. Yeah. That would be Joey now, right? Unconsciously competent after going all through.
That's any goalie that gets to that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great stuff. I love it. You're doing a spectacular job. What's the biggest advice, the one thing you have for the listeners right now? We got about 29 people on live right now. And if anyone wants to ask any questions, feel free to ask questions. Brian was scared we weren't going to have anyone on, so I told him he's a big draw. Don't worry, we'll have a lot of people on. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I don't know if you're actually even allowed to ask questions based on the system setup. This is our third time doing it live like this, so we're still working out some kinks.
Are you telling me that I was picked third?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Come on, are you kidding me? I feel honored.
It was just it's just our schedules. Like who did I have? I had Ian Clark on. You know Ian, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, great guy. He lives in Vancouver too, so he came to my house live. And then Josh came on. Josh is the number one ranked goalie in the draft coming up. They weren't ahead of you. It's just our schedule.
I'm saying I'm proud to be in the
you're
guy. Like that's awesome. Hey, that goes. And then if you said to me, if you want to kind of wrap it up with this one,
sure.
If you said to me,
we got 2 hours left, don't we?
You tell my mom who's waiting downstairs for dinner.
Okay, yeah.
You tell my mom that I'm going to be up here for 2 hours. I'm going to get grounded.
We'll wrap her up.
But here's the thing, and I don't know. You may say it sounds corny or whatever, but I think you always just got to go back to being grateful. Like so I have an academy, and so we've got a school, an academy of goalies. They come in every day. They study online. They train every day. They crush it. It's the best thing I've ever done in goaltending. It surpasses anything. But we've got so many. So I do a primer every day, 15 minutes to start the day. I get them primed for the day. And so often I'm like, hey, I said, let's talk about gratitude. We talk about gratitude a lot. And like, all right, you know what? I bet you there's guys sitting here right now that didn't like their coaches this weekend. I bet you, guess what? That coach who's got a wife and kids and doesn't get paid to coach your team and takes all the crap from the parents. I said, let's be grateful for that coach. Let's be grateful for the people that organized all the games that we played this weekend. Let's be grateful for the ref who come out,
That's
take
pushing
all
it too far, Brian.
What's that?
Grateful for the ref is pushing it too far.
You
Keep it going. No, I love
need
it.
to, I don't know what it's like where you are, but where I am, forget about hockey. I'm just talking about sports in general.
Yeah.
High schools are canceling sporting events.
Because of lack of referees?
They don't have refs.
Yeah, no, they're such an important part. That was a total.
No, but that JV soccer team may not have a game this weekend because they got no one to ref it. That's where we're at right now. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But so I don't know if you've ever, you've probably seen this clip, or maybe you'll look at it now. But before every game, Joey does the same routine when he puts the jersey on. He looks at the logo and he thanks the Seattle Kraken for giving him the opportunity. He looks at the NHL. They got the NHL logo right here. He looks at the NHL logo. Thank you for letting me play in this league. And he looks at the name on the back and he thanks his family for supporting. That's what he does every game, right? So if you ask me one thing that you like, get grateful.
Yeah.
Stop complaining about you don't have this, you don't have that. Be grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
It'll make things a lot more fun.
Huge. I love it. And a little, like a tip for everyone too. One of the ways to be more grateful too is just ask yourself a question in the morning. What am I really grateful for in my life right now? And things will come to you. I'm grateful that Brian Daccord is on my podcast.
And I'm grateful you asked me, man. I'm so fired up. Like I love this stuff, and I have such a lot of respect for you and what you do and the importance of it. And thank goodness we have people like you that understand that, these goalies, they need help. They need support, and they just need someone, right? Block versus variability. Some kids can figure it out on their own, and good for them. But some other people, they need coaching and they need instruction. They need to learn systems on how to do things. And this is what you're the master of, and I appreciate you having me on. You got it. I'm so excited to speak at your camp coming up. Tell everyone a little bit about that camp one more time, just so the GCG Prospects event. You can find out information on our website. It's stopitgoaltending.com. And it's the week of July 14th. It's always the middle of July, and we've got, like I said, it's goalie Woodstock. It's incredible. And then at the end, your wife, you better answer it, Brian. No, that's Joey. I'm gonna take it in 2 seconds. You answer it for the viewers; they'll love it. Hey, Joey, congrats on the shutout. Hey, congrats on the shutout. That's awesome. Big win. The guys played well today. Hey, hold on the line for like 30 seconds. I got Pete Fry. I'm doing a podcast. We're wrapping it up here, and I'm going to be done in about 30 seconds. So hold on, okay? Okay. Great job. All right, Pete. Awesome. I answered it. You told me to answer it. I answered it. I know you did. I'm glad you did, right? It's a special moment for you, right? Thank you for everything. Thank you, Brian. We'll see you soon. I can't wait to see you in person in the summer. Awesome. Bye. Okay, buddy. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks, Pete. We'll catch up soon.